Hi, everybody, and welcome to 92.3 The Fans YouTube channel. We're glad you are with us. Of course, he's Daryl Ruiter. I'm Andy Baskin. As we used to do in the past, we do our postgame report. Now we're happy to be here on YouTube, and we call this our postgame edition of Brownie Bites. And especially if you follow Daryl all week long, you know what the Brownie Bites are all about. What really bites about this game is the fact that the Browns lost by a single point, and the issue is about the kicker who blew 4 points in this game. And if you're Andre Schmidt, it's one of those nights where you better get back to work, and hopefully you have a spot on the team this week.
Yeah, and also probably stay off social media. That would also help.
That is very healthy, yes. Andre, if you're not watching our YouTube channel today, it's okay. We respect you for that. Okay.
In fact, we would recommend you turn it off right now. Everyone else,
actually, if you made it to us, we're going to be soft compared to everybody else because we all realize that it's a rough game. You send 300-pound guys out there to battle every play, and then a guy who's got to put his foot on the ball loses it for you. It's hard not to point fingers, but the Browns weren't doing that after the game.
No, they were not. It is a team game, and look, you had a couple of interceptions go off wide receivers' hands, so you can't just put it all on Andre Schmidt, even though those 4 points loom large. When he missed the PAT, I turned to a colleague and I said, we know this won't come back to haunt the Browns, and ultimately it ended up doing. And then, of course, he went down for the 36-yard field goal. It was timed up perfectly, all set to take the lead there, and he also pushed that one wide right as well. But, yeah, the blame game did not happen after the game. Let's start with Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski. Here's some of his comments following the 17-16 Week 1 loss to the Cincinnati Bengals.
To come away with a loss in that game, can't be -2 versus a good football team, and that's really the story of the football game. The tip balls, and we got to play cleaner. Now, there's 1,000 things that we can do better from a coaching staff, from a player standpoint, but we have to do a better job securing that rock. We obviously missed a field goal, missed an extra point. Those are points in these type of games that you have to come away with. So, it hurts, and you don't when you feel like you're doing some good things. Now, having said that, you have a division game next week, right back at it. So this team understands that these hurt, but we'll learn from it. We'll watch the tape. We'll recommit to the thing and understand that we have to do a better job in a bunch of different areas, but really proud of a lot of the performance from these guys, proud of effort from these guys, but it's just frustrating not to ultimately go out there, frustrating not to come away with a win. Points are at a premium, obviously, so that's frustrating. Andre's had a really, really good camp. He's done a nice job for us. So I'm not there, though. If you ask those guys, they're going to say yes. Jerry and Seth are our two best receivers. We are counting on them. We will always be counting on them, and they will come through for this football team. I have zero doubt about that. Zero. I think our young guys, as I've told you guys and told them, we're counting on them. So the idea that we have rookies really just isn't true. They're not rookies. They're guys that we're counting on. So I thought they both had some good moments. How many yards passing? So it was really good effort. That's the frustrating part for us as a team. Now, we're a football team, and we win together, we lose together, so we all get to share in this one. But, yes, it doesn't change the fact that there's some really good things that are happening.
So there you have it. No surprises there from Kevin Stefanski, sticking with Andre Schmidt, not going to, think about, at least in the moment, making a knee-jerk reaction type of a decision here. But he goes to Baltimore and misses some kicks, and they start 0-2. I guarantee you when the Green Bay Packers roll into town for Week 3, we will probably have a new kicker.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear Joe Flacco after the game, and I know we're going to hear from him in a second, talking about, with Schmidt, that you think the whole world is looking at you, think the whole locker room is looking at you. Probably the locker room is, but the whole world's probably saying, oh, did you see the Browns kicker messed up that game for them? Look, it could have been a little bit more. If you think about it, Joe Burrow did a bunny hop out of the end zone when the Browns defense was absolutely on fire with 3 consecutive sacks. That bunny hop may have saved the Bengals in this game too, because, or the holding call that didn't happen on that play, because everyone around me was like, wait, did you guys see the hold? Maybe it should have been a safety. It doesn't matter. The game's over, and the Browns are 0-1.
Yeah, and look, on the offensive side of the ledger, you're going to look in the box score. You're going to see Joe Flacco with 2 interceptions.
Oh.
But those interceptions, one went off Jerry Jeudy, the other went off Cedric Tillman. And that's unfortunate because both of those players made plays for the Browns on Sunday. Unfortunately, they also created 2 very expensive turnovers as well. On the positive side, because there were some positive sides or things that happened in this particular game, I thought Sampson was fantastic catching the ball out of the backfield. Harold Fannin Jr. did a nice job catching the football.
He did not look like a guy that was playing in his first NFL game. Not at all.
No, not at all. Now, the running game needs some work. It was not all that great. I mean, they were struggling to get 3 yards in a cloud of dust on Sunday, but it was good enough. And Joe Flacco was good enough to win. Here's some of what the 40-year-old veteran had to say following Sunday's loss.
It's tough. I felt like we did a lot of good things, but we also did a lot of things that get you beat. We just kind of, just felt we kind of played like an inexperienced team a little bit today. Like I said, we did so many good things and were able to move the ball and then just, ultimately come up short. It definitely hurts to feel like, you could start the season 1-0 and not do that. Listen, it's football, I'm wishing that, I had the ball a little bit better, and I'm wishing I just threw it on his chest as opposed to, doing what I did. And I think we're all looking at those plays and probably thinking about them and just like, we're going to have to go home tonight and try to fall asleep with those things on our, on our thoughts. And it's hard. When you lose football games, that's what happens. You're going to have plays where you look back on and think about, and those guys, they played a really strong game for us today. Like I said, I think when you look at this film, you're going to see a lot of guys that did a lot of really good things. We just had some MAs that really, really bit us. Like we had a lot in, and I feel like we handled it for the most part. But at the same time, you could tell that we were young. I mean, there was times where we probably didn't have a ton of time on the play clock, and we were moving around a little bit. So yeah, we got to get used to being able to do some of those things and not let it, kind of slow us down that half a step or whatever it may be. But we did a lot of good things with that as well. I think they tried to throw a lot on our plate, and I ultimately think we did a decent job of handling it. But at the same time, you look at those few plays that got us. There's definitely, listen, I mean, you can't listen to the outside noise. We've been trying to build something, all off season. There's definitely things that we're going to be able to look at and build off of for sure and say, man, like, look how well we did that. We just can't let the things that were negative affect you. Like this league can be harsh when you don't win, and it can come down on you hard. But at the same time, it is week to week. You go out there and you play the way you know how to play the next week, then that last week is forgotten about, and you're feeling really good. If we're in here, if we're in the locker room in Baltimore at 4:25 next week and we won the game, we're going to be feeling really damn good. So it's just that balance of like trying to take the confidence from the things that we did do well and the things that we didn't do well. Those things seem to stick around and kind of invade your mind a little bit easier than the good things. So it's a matter of just not letting that happen. The problem is that you forget this is a team sport sometimes, because there's such a spotlight on you because of certain points in the game and what happened. And what you got to remember is that we've all been in a situation where we've all made mistakes before that have been a big part of costing us a football game. You got to shake it. It's not just on you. It's a team sport. We're all going to be in there and rally together. Nobody wants to be in that situation and not come up for your team. But we've all been there and can understand not doing it. I think if you're able to kind of take that in, then you can use it, to make you better in the future. So hopefully that's what we can help him help him do with it.
So there you go. No surprises from Joe, Andy, as far as, not pointing fingers, not placing the blame on anyone specifically. As we've already talked about, it is a team game. Team win, team lose.
Joe talked about that for sure.
Absolutely. So just all around a tough situation. This is a prototypical Browns loss, though. You play good enough to win, but also you played just poorly enough to lose.
The one thing that also was brought up, too, with Joe Flacco was the thought of having Quinton Junkins back next week. Do you think he's playing next week?
I think that there's a chance, absolutely. I mean, they got him under contract on Saturday. You see what kind of physical condition he's in. I'm sure
the league isn't going to say anything? I'm just curious on that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what the timetable is. So what the Browns have to do is they have to just business as usual. He's under contract, and then if the NFL steps in at some point and says, he has to sit down for a violation of the conduct policy, then that's what's going to happen. The Browns can't sit around, though, and wait for that. They've got a business as usual. They got a roster exemption for another game with him as well. So, get an opportunity to evaluate him this week, see where he is physically. Obviously, you don't want to get too carried away and put too much on his plate if he's not physically able to handle that, because he is your future franchise running back, and you don't want to do anything to jeopardize his long-term health.
All right, let's talk a little bit more about the defense today. Myles Garrett was exceptional. Joe Burrow said he was the best in the league after the game, although they won't say his name. They call him 95 in that Bengals locker room. But still, Myles led a string of 3 consecutive sacks in the fourth quarter that really had the opportunity to change this game. The defense made a mark in this game.
Yeah, I mean, they really did. But Cincinnati drove down the field in the first quarter. It took basically half of the first quarter before the Browns even got the ball.
True.
They put 7 points on the board, racked up and then the Browns defense clamped down. And give them credit. And it's one thing that Myles Garrett really, really lamented in this football game was that start. Here's more from the Browns all-pro defensive end.
I feel like saying something to people in that situation, especially if you don't know them that well. You don't know if you're adding unnecessary pressure, or if he's already in that mindset. And there's going to be situations like this again, and he's going to make those kicks. And then we're going to be better for it. We're going to win those games. So there's no more scrutiny on him than the rest of us. We didn't have to be in that position. We could have came out faster on defense and picked it up earlier. And it's a team game, and we all have to play together. They have a chip plan. They have a plan for me, and we just got to figure it out and find a way to crack it open and then get me rolling. And I feel like once I can start to get my rhythm and find what works, it's really a snowball effect. And I was really inspired by the play of the other guys. Making plays all across the field. Whether it was the front, it was the backers, and the DB. It was a little bit of everybody. So. I'm just happy to be able to step up in those moments, but we gotta have more, and it's got to be quicker. Losing is losing. It's not encouraging at all. So anytime you step on this field, you're old enough to win. No one's gonna make any adjustments just because you're a younger player, you're a rookie, you're a sophomore. So those guys who came in and made plays for us, we're gonna continue to lean on them, no matter the age, and I'll just continue to lift each other up. This is one game. We are very close. Learn from it. Win the turnover battle. We've got to get some turnovers of our own to match them, and I think that swings the game right there. It's hard, you kind of get into a zone, and it's hard to explain for myself. And then I feel like I kind of started a domino effect. And everybody else wanted to get in on the party. Zay, Mason, those guys started collapsing the pocket and getting busy themselves. So I'm happy to see them, get rolling. And we just have to do a little bit sooner. They had a good plan, and it wasn't. We didn't appreciate how they were getting after our quarterback in our house. So we knew we had to step up. And like I said, we just have to do it quicker. Keep your head up. We don't lose 2 in a row. You've got to, look at the film. And get up off the canvas quick. It's another division opponent, a good team who we're facing, and it's going to be very different styles, so we have to be able to prepare and look ourselves in the mirror very, very quickly, see what adjustments we need to make, and get right back at them, because those guys aren't slowing down, and neither can we.
So there you go, Andy. I mean, again, leadership. We heard it from Flacco. We heard it from Kevin Stefanski. And you heard it there from Myles Garrett. Nobody's pointing fingers. That's the good thing. Now, behind the scenes, yes, I'm sure somebody at some point is going to walk up to Andre Schmidt and say, hey, bro, between the sticks is how we do it in this league, okay? But they're going to kind of put this one in the recycle bin and do their best to forget about it, because they got to flip the page now. They got to go to Baltimore. By the way, I did not have Rocket as
the other Sanders. Yeah. Which Sanders would score first this year? Rocket.
Yeah, it was Rocket who scored, and we talked to Tommy Reese, the offensive coordinator, on Thursday, and asked him, so who's going to be the short yardage back? And Reese said, well, we got a complement of guys that can handle those
they only
duties.
have 3, so
right.
It's pretty small compliment.
And he certainly didn't tip his hand when talking to us, but the fact that Sanders got in the end zone, that was great to see as well. But again, it's not enough. And I think that, for Browns fans, that might be the frustrating thing. They're always good, and they seem to be, in a lot of instances, good enough, but not good enough to win. Good enough.
That's very much an expansion feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you think about it.
They're like in the game, had multiple opportunities to take that game in the fourth quarter and couldn't get it done. And that is something that, and we heard it in the locker room, it's something that they have to carry forward, Andy. They have to understand the details of the game absolutely matter. Every little detail matters. And unfortunately, the 2 missed kicks and the 2 turnovers, that's your ball game. That is why we are sitting here after this one here at Huntington Bank Field talking about the Browns losing 17-16 and starting yet another season 0-1. Now we'll see if they can lick their wounds, pack their bags, head to Baltimore, and see if they can spoil the Ravens' 30th anniversary party, as they're going to run a couple of Vince Lombardi trophies in everyone's face, as well as all their Hall of Famers that, unfortunately, Browns Hall of Fame tight end Ozzie Newsome brought to Baltimore. So it'll be on the Browns to get up for that game at 4:25. They're down in Baltimore. We'll see what it feels like, I should say, at 4:25 in Baltimore after playing the Ravens.
All right, just 2 more points I want to make before we say goodbye and we start talking towards next week. Monday morning moaning. So the 2 things, and I don't think we touched on them either. The 2 things that you did just a little bit. The 2 things I think people will be moaning about outside of the kicker will be the fact that Joe Flacco had 2 more interceptions. Neither one was his fault. I'm sorry, I'm not making excuses for him, but the receivers had the ball in their hands and then coughed it up. Those aren't on Joe. They're just not on Joe.
And we're also not talking about the other dropped passes.
Right.
Remember, a year ago, Andy, the Browns led the NFL in drop passes. They had 3 critical drops in that fourth quarter, including the interception. That cannot happen, okay? Joe Flacco committed the ultimate sin. He was hitting guys in the hands with footballs.
And then the other Monday morning moan is going to be the clock is ticking. I mean, look, it's nothing against the way Joe Flacco played, but the fact is they have 2 rookies on this team, one of which was the emergency quarterback that I think the fans would have gone crazy if they would have saw Shedeur Sanders walk out on the field.
And they don't want to play him, by the way.
No, well, he was the emergency quarterback. If you got to get to him, it's not his name. It's emergency quarterback. You never want to have to play your emergency quarterback.
But I'm just saying they don't want to put this kid on the field too soon.
Right.
If they don't feel he's ready. Dylan Gabriel is going to be a different conversation, to your point, right?
Right.
I think Joe's got at least 6, 7, maybe 8 games, and then you see where things are at. And if it bears the results that we saw on Sunday, then, yeah, we're going to see Dylan Gabriel, because they got to make an evaluation there.
They're basically making an evaluation on the 2 quarterbacks that are here. Dylan Gabriel has the best chance. And then every Saturday you turn on the TV and you see a college quarterback. That guy's getting evaluated to be the Browns' next quarterback, too.
Yeah, because they got 2 first-round picks next year. And the worst-kept secret in the National Football League is the Cleveland Browns are hunting for a quarterback. Or 2, or maybe 3. Who knows what they're going to do next year in April.
Well, you can never have enough quarterbacks, and you can never have a T-shirt long enough to have the names of the starting quarterbacks. long enough. All right, so that'll do it for Brownie Bites, the post-game edition. He's Daryl. I'm Andy. As always, we will be back the way we have been for the last couple of years. We're just on a different format. We're here on YouTube, and we are excited that you're watching our post-game report, the Brownie Bites, on YouTube as well. Why don't you like us or just give us a little thumbs up down there in the corner of the screen.
And subscribe.
Oh,
Most
and
important.
subscribe. Yes, we can. And what's that subscription cost?
$0.
Just up my alley, as much as I have
Free.
in my wallet, except for a losing lottery ticket.
My
right there,
favorite
too. So,
four-letter F word is free.
thank you. It's better than Holy Schmidt, isn't it?
That's what we were saying twice on Sunday.
We're back again next week. Thanks for watching.